I'm going to kill that Omega. Not today, not publicly, but soon. The thought settles in my mind with the same calm certainty I use when issuing orders. It doesn't feel like anger. It feels like a solution. The main hall of the pack is all glass and steel. Clean lines, sharp edges, everything designed to look like control. A long obsidian table cuts through the center like a blade, surrounded by high-backed chairs that no one is fully comfortable sitting in anymore. Too many cracks. You can feel them, not in the structure. The structure is perfect, temperature-controlled, soundproof, reinforced, but the people inside it? That's where everything is breaking. I stand where I always stand, half a step behind the official alpha, close enough to act, far enough to not be seen as the one in charge. My place, my curse, my excuse. Alpha Donovan leans forward, palms pressed to the table, trying to look commanding. His scent spikes, sharp, uneven, just a hint too sour for someone who's supposed to be the center of stability. He's losing them, not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily, and I can feel every shift like pressure in my bones. This isn't up for debate, Donovan says, voice tight. We hold the eastern boundary, no retreat. A chair scrapes. Ryder. Of course, it's Ryder, aggressive alpha. Too much muscle, not enough restraint. That boundary's already compromised. Ryder snaps. We lost 3 scouts last night. You want to lose more? Donovan hesitates. That's all it takes. Just a second too long. The room tilts. I feel it. The subtle shift of attention, of instinct, of power. Heads turning, not toward Donovan, but toward me. I don't move. I don't step forward. I don't speak, because I'm not the alpha, and that matters. It shouldn't, but it does. Donovan clears his throat, trying to recover. We don't make decisions based on fear. It's not fear. Ryder shoots back. It's strategy. No, it's desperation. I exhale slowly through my nose, already mapping the solution. Pull back 2 units. Reinforce the southern flank. Rotate patrols to avoid predictable routes. Simple, obvious, necessary, and not my call. I hate that. I hate that more than I hate Ryder's temper, or Donovan's hesitation, because I can fix this. I always fix this, and I never get to own it. Maybe, a quiet voice says, cutting cleanly through the tension. The problem isn't the boundary. The room stills, not because of volume, because of precision. Every head turns. So does mine. He's standing near the far end of the table, where no one important ever stands. Slim frame, dark clothes, no attempt to take space, and yet somehow, he occupies more of it than anyone else. Elias, the new advisor. The Omega, the problem. His scent is wrong, not weak, not submissive, just unbothered. Like he exists outside the rules everyone else is choking on. Donovan frowns. And what exactly are you suggesting? Elias tilts his head slightly, like he's considering how honest he wants to be, that you're defending a line that doesn't matter anymore. Ryder scoffs. And you know that. How? Elias doesn't even look at him. His gaze shifts, locks onto me, and for a second, something in my chest tightens. Sharp, unwelcome. Like being seen under a light I didn't agree to stand in. You're moving people to cover for structural failures, Elias says, still looking at me. Not territorial ones. My jaw tightens. He shouldn't know that. I didn't say anything. I haven't said anything. Donovan straightens. We're done entertaining hypotheticals. No, Elias says softly. You're done listening. Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The kind that builds pressure. I step forward before I consciously decide to, just half a step, just enough. Then say it clearly, I say, voice even. What's the actual problem? Finally, his attention sharpens fully. On me, up close. His eyes are darker than I expected, not soft, not yielding, focused, too focused. You already know, he says. I don't like that answer. Say it anyway. A pause, measured, deliberate. Then, You're stretching the pack too thin because you're compensating for weak leadership. The words land like a blade, sliding between ribs. Clean, accurate, dangerous. Ryder lets out a low whistle. Someone else shifts in their seat. Donovan's scent spikes. Anger now, sharp and unstable. You don't get to. But he doesn't finish, because no one is looking at him. They're looking at me. Again. Always me. I hate that. I hate that I feel it. I hate that part of me. Responds to it. I keep my expression flat. Controlled. Like always. You're overstepping, I tell Elias. He doesn't flinch. Am the first? Yes. A beat. Then. Softer. You're the one fixing everything, aren't you? The room disappears. Not physically, but everything else fades. Voices. Tension. Donovan's anger. Ryder's impatience. All of it drops away. And there's just him looking at me like I'm not standing behind someone else's authority. Like I'm not second. Like I'm not hidden. I feel it again. That sharp, intrusive awareness of being seen, of being understood. It makes something in me recoil, hard, dangerous. I step closer without thinking, stopping just at the edge of his space. Close enough to test him, to intimidate him, to remind him what he is. What exactly do you think you're doing? I ask quietly. His lips curve slightly, not a smile. Something smaller, sharper. I'm asking a question. No, I say. You're making an assumption. And I'm wrong? The worst part? I don't answer. Because the first can't. Because he isn't. And that's the problem. The meeting dissolves after that. Not formally. Donovan tries to regain control, throws out a decision no one fully agrees with, and people start leaving in fragments. Disorganized, disconnected, broken, exactly like the pack. I stay. Of course I stay. Because someone has to. I reroute patrols before the orders even circulate, adjust assignments, quietly override the worst of Donovan's calls without making it obvious, efficient, invisible, necessary. By the time I'm done, the room is almost empty. Almost. He's still there, leaning against the far end of the table like he never belonged anywhere else. Elias, watching me. Of course he is. I don't look at him at first. I don't give him that. But I feel it. That gaze. Steady, unapologetic. Eventually, I lift my head, meet it. You enjoy causing problems? I ask. He tilts his head again. I don't cause them. No? I point at the ones already there. I huff out a quiet breath. Not quite a laugh. Not quite irritation. Dangerous habit. For who? For you? A pause. Then, I don't think so. There it is again. That calm certainty, like he's already accounted for every possible outcome, including me. Especially me. I step closer, closing the distance fully now. He doesn't move, doesn't step back, doesn't submit. Wrong. Everything about him is wrong. You don't understand how this works, I say. His eyes flicker, just slightly. Interest. Oh, he murmurs. I think I understand perfectly. No, I repeat, lower now. You don't, because if he did, he wouldn't be standing this close. He wouldn't be looking at me like that. He wouldn't be dangerous. We hold each other's gaze for a second too long. Then I step back, break it, because I need to, because staying there feels like stepping onto unstable ground. And I don't do unstable. I leave the hall first, not fast, not slow, controlled, always controlled. But the moment the doors slide shut behind me, I exhale. Sharp, annoyed, aware that Omega is a problem. Not because he's loud, not because he's obvious, but because he isn't. Because he sees too much. Because he says too little. Because he looked at me and didn't see a second. I roll my shoulders once, grounding myself. Fine, if he wants to play this game, I'll play it better. I'll watch him, track him, figure out what he's really doing here. And if he turns out to be a threat, I won't hesitate. I'm going to kill that Omega. This time, the thought feels different. Not just a solution, a promise. For now, I observe, and when the time comes, I end it. Cracks don't start loud. They start in the quiet moments. In the hesitation before a command. In the glance someone shouldn't take. In the second too long it takes for a room to obey. And once you notice them, you can't unsee them. The training floor smells like sweat, metal, and tension. It's early, but the space is already alive. Bodies moving, boots hitting reinforced ground, the low thud of controlled impact. This is where the pack pretends everything is still intact. Strength, order, hierarchy, all the things that look good from the outside. I stand at the edge of the mat, arms crossed, watching two alphas circle each other like they're one bad decision away from tearing this place apart. Ryder and Cole, of course. Ryder fights like he lives, forward, aggressive, too fast to think things through. Cole is worse. Colder, slower, the kind of alpha who doesn't raise his voice because he doesn't need to. Neither of them should be in the same space right now. But here we are. Their movements sharpen, less training, more challenge. Back off, Cole mutters. Ryder laughs. Make me, and there it is. The crack widening. I don't move immediately. I let it stretch. Let them show me exactly how far they're willing to push it. Ryder lunges first. Fast, sloppy, driven by irritation rather than strategy. Cole counters cleanly, efficient, controlled. For half a second, it looks like this might stay contained. Then Ryder doesn't stop, doesn't pull the hit, doesn't care. The impact echoes too loud. Wrong. That's not training anymore. That's escalation. I step in before the next move lands. Not rushed, not reactive, just final. My hand catches Ryder's wrist mid-swing, stopping the momentum like it never had a chance. The force vibrates up my arm. I don't flinch. Enough. One word. Flat. Ryder jerks against my grip. Stay out of this, Marcus. I tighten my hold, just slightly, not enough to hurt, enough to remind him. He exhales sharply, frustration cutting through his scent. Cole straightens, wiping blood from the corner of his mouth. He started it. I don't care, I say, because the first don't, not about who started it, only about how it ends. I release Ryder and step between them fully now, letting my presence settle into the space. Not loud, not dominant, but undeniable. You don't fight each other when the pack's already unstable, I continue. You don't waste strength proving something no one asked you to prove. Ryder scoffs, says who? I meet his gaze. Hold it. Don't push. Don't escalate. Just wait. It takes 3 seconds. That's all. Then his shoulders drop. Just a fraction. Enough. Cole looks away first. Even better. Back to drills, I say. No one argues. They disperse, like the decision was already theirs, like I didn't just step in and end it, like I didn't just take control of a situation that wasn't technically mine to control. That's how it works. That's how it always works. I fix it, and it disappears. You should have let them finish. The voice comes from behind me. Calm. Too calm. I don't turn immediately. I already know who it is. Why? I ask. Elias steps into my peripheral vision, hands loosely in his pockets, like he's just another observer, like he wasn't watching everything. They needed to establish dominance, he says. They needed to stop acting like idiots. A pause, then, softer. Same thing, sometimes. I glance at him, brief, measured. You talk too much for someone without rank. His mouth curves slightly, not mocking, not submissive, just aware. And you carry too much for someone without one. The words hit exactly where they're meant to. I don't react. Externally, internally. Irritation spikes, sharp and immediate. Not because he's wrong, because he says it like it's obvious. Like it's visible. Like I haven't spent years making sure it isn't. You're making assumptions again, I say, and you're avoiding them again. I step closer. Close enough that most Omegas would shift back automatically. He doesn't. Of course he doesn't. Careful, I murmur. That kind of confidence doesn't usually end well for your type. Elias tilts his head slightly. My type? Omega. His gaze sharpens just a fraction, not offended, interested. Is that what this is about? He asks. Type? No, it isn't, and that's the problem. I step back first. Break it. Again, because this, whatever this is, isn't a dynamic I control yet, and I don't like that. The corridors are quieter, narrower, cleaner. This is where decisions get made without witnesses. I walk through them with purpose, already recalculating the patrol rotations from last night. Ryder's unit needs to be split. Coal reassigned. Eastern boundary scaled back before it collapses entirely. Simple, obvious. Still not my call. Except, it is, because if I don't make it, no one else will. I push open the door to Donovan's office. He's behind his desk, staring at something on the screen, like it might fix itself if he looks at it long enough. It won't. He looks up when I enter. Marcus. No authority in it. Just relief. I hate that. We need to adjust the eastern patrols, I say. Pull 2 units back. Rotate the rest. He hesitates. Of course he does. That could be seen as a retreat. It is a retreat, I reply. A necessary one. Another pause. Too long. What do you think we should do? He asks finally. There it is. The question that shouldn't exist. Not from him. Not to me. I hold his gaze. Keep my expression neutral. Controlled. You already know the answer. He exhales. Shoulders dropping slightly. Then do it. Not an order. A deflection. A transfer of responsibility without the title to match. I nod once. Turn. Leave, because staying would mean acknowledging what just happened. And I don't have time for that. By the time I reach my office, the changes are already in motion. Messages sent, assignments updated, people moving, like the system recognizes the correction, even if it doesn't officially come from me. I close the door behind me and lean back against it for a second. Just a second, long enough to feel it, the weight, not of the decisions, of the space between what I am and what I'm allowed to be. A knock. Soft. Controlled. I don't answer. The door opens anyway. Of course it does. Elias. He steps inside like he belongs here. Like, this isn't my space. Like boundaries are suggestions. Busy? He asks. I push off the door. No. He nods, like he expected that. Good. Silence stretches. Not uncomfortable. Not for him. For me, it's something else. Something I can't quite categorize yet. You adjusted the patrols, he says. Not a question. A statement. Yes. 2 units from the east. Reinforced south. Staggered rotations. I narrow my eyes slightly. You've been watching. He shrugs lightly. Observing. Same thing. Why? This time. He takes a second to answer. Actually considers it. Because I wanted to see if you'd do it. If I'd do what? What needs to be done? I let out a quiet breath. Half irritation, half something else. And if I didn't? His gaze doesn't waver. Then, the pack would keep breaking. Simple. Clinical. True. I study him. Really study him this time. Not as a problem. As a variable. And, what I see, doesn't fit. He's not disrupting anything. He's not pushing chaos. He's not even challenging authority directly. He's adjusting, redirecting, like he's tuning something only he can hear. That realization settles in my chest, heavy and unwelcome. You're not here to break the system, I say slowly. No, you're changing it. A small pause. Then, I'm revealing what it already is. I don't like that answer. Because it makes too much sense. Because it aligns too closely with what I've been ignoring. Because it puts me at the center of it. He moves toward the desk, stopping just short of it. Close, not invading, not retreating, balanced, calculated. You're angry, he observes. I'm not. You are. I look at him, directly, sharply, and you're still here. His lips curve again. That almost smile that never quite becomes one. I usually am. Something in my chest tightens. Again, I don't like patterns I can't predict. I don't like people I can't categorize. And I definitely don't like being seen by them. Get out, I say, not harsh, but final. Elias studies me for one more second, then nods, turns, leaves, just like that. No argument, no push, like he got exactly what he came for. The door clicks shut behind him. I stand there for a moment, still, silent, thinking, he's not the problem. That's the first thing that becomes clear, not in the way I expected. He's not breaking anything. He's not creating the cracks. He's finding them, using them, shifting the weight just enough that everything starts to move. And somehow, every time he does, it leads back to me. I exhale slowly. Fine. If that's the game, then I need to understand it. Understand him completely, because if I don't, he's going to stay one step ahead. And I don't do second place. Not really. Not when it matters. I push off the desk and grab my jacket. Decision already made. I'll watch him. Closely. Quietly. No interference. Not yet. But if he crosses a line, if he becomes a threat, I won't hesitate. This time, the thought comes sharper, clearer, focused, not instinct, not irritation, strategy. I'm not going to underestimate that Omega, not again. And if I have to, I'll end him. But first, I learn everything. If you watch long enough, patterns start to form, not the obvious ones. Those are for people who need everything spelled out. The real ones? They sit underneath, quiet, consistent, dangerous. I don't follow Elias immediately. That would be too easy, too obvious. Instead, I watch everything around him, where he goes, who changes behavior after he speaks, which decisions shift, and how fast. It takes less than a day to realize something's off. Not wrong, not chaotic. Structured, too structured. The archive room is cold, not physically, functionally. Rows of secured terminals, restricted access logs, communication feeds layered behind security protocols that most of the pack doesn't even know exist. Of course I do. I don't sit, I don't relax. I stand over the console, scanning movement reports, cross-referencing patrol changes with internal messaging. And there it is. A pattern, small adjustments, tiny shifts. Conversations that shouldn't matter, suddenly mattering. Elias doesn't send orders. He doesn't override commands. But after he speaks to someone, they change something. Just slightly, just enough. Like pressure applied in exactly the right place. I scroll further. Names, times, locations. He's been busy, more than he should be, more than a consultant needs to be. I lean back slightly, exhaling through my nose. Not chaotic, not random, directed, which means one thing, intent, and intent means motive, and motive means risk. Night settles over the territory like a held breath, the kind that makes everything sharper, clearer, more honest. This is when the pack shows what it really is. Less performance, more instinct. I move through the outer perimeter silently, boots barely making a sound against the concrete. Lights flicker in the distance. Patrol rotations shift. Voices carry just enough to tell me where I'm needed. And where I'm not. Elias isn't where he should be. Of course he isn't. I spot him near the lower access corridor. He's speaking to one of the betas. Not high-ranking, not strategic, but placed right in the middle of a communication chain. I don't get close enough to hear everything. I don't need to. I watch posture, timing, the way the beta nods. Not submissive, not deferential, but aligned. Then Elias says something softer. The beta's expression shifts, subtle, but real. Decision made. The beta leaves first. Elias stays, just for a second, still. Then he turns and walks away like nothing happened. Like he didn't just move a piece on the board, I follow, not directly, parallel, keeping distance, keeping control. He doesn't look back, doesn't check. Either he doesn't notice, or he doesn't care. I don't know which is worse. Second interaction happens near the southern corridor. This time, an alpha, lower rank, guard unit. The conversation is shorter, more direct. Elias speaks. The alpha stiffens, then relaxes, and then nods. Compliance, without command, without pressure, without dominance. That's not normal. That's not how this works. Unless they already trust him, or worse, they already agree with him. By the third interaction, I stop pretending this is coincidence. He's building something, quietly, carefully, piece by piece. No announcements, no declarations, just adjustments, exactly where they matter. I feel it settle in my chest. Cold, sharp. This isn't random. This is strategy. The roof access door clicks softly as I push it open. Cold air hits immediately, wind cutting through the stillness, carrying the scent of the territory far beyond the walls. The city glows in the distance, too far to matter, close enough to remind you that everything here is temporary. Elias is already there. Of course he is, standing near the edge, hands resting lightly on the railing like he's not at risk of falling, like gravity doesn't apply to him either. He doesn't turn when I step out, doesn't react, doesn't pretend. You're getting predictable, I say. The door closes behind me with a soft click. The wind fills the silence. Elias tilts his head slightly. Am the first? Yes. A pause. Then, good. I step closer. No hesitation this time. No circling. Straight to the point. Who are you working for? He turns then, finally, faces me fully, and for a second, everything sharpens. The wind, the space, the distance between us, you, the word lands, and nothing moves. Not the air, not the ground, not me. Silence stretches, longer than it should, long enough to feel it, to feel the weight of it pressing against my ribs. I narrow my eyes. That's not an answer. It is. No, I say, stepping closer. It's deflection. Elias watches me approach, doesn't move, doesn't step back. Again, wrong. Everything about this is wrong. You've been meeting people, I continue, adjusting communication lines, influencing decisions. Yes. No denial, no hesitation. Why? He studies me for a second. Not defensive, not cautious, just considering, because you weren't doing it fast enough. That wasn't the answer I expected. It hits harder because of that. My jaw tightens. I'm handling the situation. I know. Then stay out of it. I can't. Something in my chest snaps tight. You don't get to decide that, don't I? I stop just short of him now, close enough to see every detail, the steadiness in his gaze, the lack of fear, the absence of submission. This isn't defiance. It's something else, something worse. Certainty. You're interfering with my pack, I say, voice low, a flicker. There, finally, something shifts in his expression. Not fear, not apology, recognition. Your pack, he repeats. Yes, a beat. Then act like it. The words hit harder than anything he's said so far, because they don't challenge me. They name something I haven't claimed. I feel it, that pull again, that uncomfortable, intrusive awareness of what he's pointing at, of what I've been avoiding. I push it down, hard. That's not your call, I say. No. Elias agrees softly. It's yours. The wind picks up, tugging at his clothes, pushing strands of dark hair across his face. He doesn't move to fix it. Doesn't break eye contact. I should end this. Right here. Shut it down. Put him back in place. Remind him exactly where he stands. But I don't, because the first can't, because something about this, about him, doesn't fit the framework I know how to control. You're manipulating them, I say instead. No. You are. I'm talking to them. That's not the same thing. It is, he says, when they're already listening. That's the problem. Not that he's changing anything, that they're ready to be changed. That the structure I've been holding together is already shifting without me. Or maybe, because of me, I don't like that thought at all. We stand there in silence again, but this time, it's different. Not empty, charged, like something's building under the surface, waiting for the wrong move, or the right one. I can feel my pulse, steady, controlled, but sharper than it should be, not from anger, not entirely, from awareness, of him, of the space between us, of the fact that he hasn't once stepped back. And I haven't made him. You're not what you look like, I say finally. A small pause. Then, neither are you. That lands somewhere deeper than I expect. I ignore it. I have to, because if I don't, this conversation goes somewhere I'm not ready to follow. I step back first. Again. Control. Always control. This stops, I say. Whatever you're doing ends now. Elias watches me, really watches me. Not like he's listening to the words, like he's measuring something else. Then he exhales softly, not frustrated, not defeated, just patient. You're not watching the right problem. I freeze, just for a second. What does that mean? But he's already stepping back, already turning toward the door, like the conversation is over, like he said enough. Elias. He pauses at the door, half turns, looks at me one last time, and there it is again. That look, that clarity, that unsettling certainty. You're looking at me, he says, like I'm the threat. A beat. Then, I'm not. The door opens. Wind rushes in. Then he's gone. I stand there alone. The city lights flickering in the distance. The wind colder now. Or maybe that's just me. I replay everything, every word, every shift, every inconsistency, and for the first time, I hesitate, not in action, in certainty, because if he's not the threat, then what is? And worse, why does everything he's doing keep pointing back to me? I clench my jaw, forcing the thought down. No, I don't second guess. I don't hesitate. I don't lose control. I reassess. That's different. It has to be. I turn toward the door. Decision already forming. I'll keep watching him. Closer now. No distance. No assumptions. Because one way or another, I'm going to understand exactly what Elias is doing. And if he's lying, if this is a game, I'll end it. Clean, final, no hesitation. But if he's not, the thought lingers longer than it should. Unfinished, uncomfortable. I don't let it complete. Not yet. Pressure doesn't break strong things. It reveals what was already weak. The meeting starts wrong. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just off. I feel it the moment I step into the hall. The air is too sharp. Conversations too quiet. Movements too calculated. No one's relaxed. No one's pretending to be good. That means we're past denial. Bad. That means we're close to collapse. The table is full. Alphas. Betas. A few omegas. Silent but present. Ryder is already there, leaning back like he owns the space. Cole sits opposite him, posture straight, eyes cold. Donovan stands at the head of the table, not sitting, trying to look like that's intentional. It isn't. I take my usual position behind him. Half a step back. Invisible authority, visible restraint. Elias is there too. Of course he is. Not at the head, not even near it, but positioned where he can see everyone. And where everyone can see him. He doesn't look at me. Not yet. We're escalating, Donovan begins. His voice is steady. His scent isn't. The eastern boundary is no longer defensible. We need to decide whether to reinforce or withdraw. Murmurs ripple through the room. Too fast. Too loud. Too divided. Ryder leans forward immediately. We reinforce. We don't show weakness. Cole shakes his head. You reinforce. You lose more ground when they push again. We pull back and stabilize. That's retreat. Ryder snaps. That's survival. Voices rise. Not shouting yet, but getting there. I watch Donovan. Wait. Give him the space to take control. He doesn't. He hesitates. Again. Every time. And the room feels it. You're both missing the point. The voice cuts through the noise like a blade. Elias. Of course. Donovan stiffens. This isn't. It is. Elias says. Calm. Because you're arguing about a boundary that's already irrelevant. Silence. Not complete, but sharp enough to shift attention. Ryder frowns. Explain. Elias doesn't rush, doesn't posture, doesn't dominate. He just speaks. You've lost internal cohesion. Your patrols are inconsistent. Your communication chain is fragmented. He gestures slightly. Not dramatic, just precise. The boundary isn't your problem. Your structure is. Cole leans forward. And your solution? Elias's gaze flickers briefly, not to Donovan, to me. Centralized decision-making. My chest tightens. Just slightly, enough to notice. Donovan straightens. We already have centralized command. No, we don't. We have him, which is not the same thing. Elias doesn't contradict him directly. He doesn't need to. That's not what your pack is responding to, he says. The room shifts. Again, subtle, but real. Ryder looks at me. Cole looks at me. Even the betas. They're not looking at Donovan anymore. They're waiting. For me. I don't move. I don't step in. I don't take it. Because I'm not the alpha. And that line still matters. Even now. Even like this. The door slams open. Hard. Too hard. Everyone turns. A runner. Young beta. Breath uneven. Scent sharp with urgency. South corridor. Unit clash, he says quickly. 2 teams. Ryders and Coles. They're already engaging. Of course they are. The crack finally breaks. We move fast. No time for structured exit. No time for hierarchy. Just motion. The corridor outside is already loud. Voices. Footsteps. The distant echo of impact. By the time we reach the southern sector, it's already gone too far. 2 groups. Facing off. Weapons not drawn. But close. Too close. Ryder's unit stands forward. Aggressive. Ready. Coles holds position. Tighter. More controlled. But just as tense. One wrong move. And this becomes something we can't undo. What the hell is this? Donovan demands. Stepping forward. No one answers him. No one looks at him. That's the problem. That's been the problem. They crossed into our rotation, Ryder says, jaw tight. You pushed past your assigned line, Cole counters. We're adapting. You're escalating. Voices rise. Bodies shift. The tension spikes. Sharp, unstable, ready to snap. Donovan raises his voice. Stand down. No one moves. No one listens. I feel it then. Clear, undeniable. He's lost them. Not partially, not temporarily. Gone. My pulse sharpens. Not from fear, from clarity. This is it. The moment where things either hold or break. And if they break, there's no putting it back together. I step forward, not behind Donovan, not beside him. In front, enough. One word. Flat. Final. The sound cuts through everything. Not because it's loud, because it lands, because it carries, because they recognize it. Ryder turns first, then Cole, then the rest. And just like that, I have their attention, all of it. Donovan says something behind me. I don't hear it. It doesn't matter. Not anymore. You don't fight each other. I continue. Voice steady. Not when the pack's already under pressure. Ryder opens his mouth. I don't let him. You don't adapt without coordination. I add, sharper now. You don't push boundaries without alignment. Cole exhales slowly. Ryder clenches his jaw. But neither of them moves forward. Neither of them escalates. Good. You want to argue strategy? I say, you do it in a room, not in the field. Silence. Breathing. Tension. still there, but contained now. I take one more step forward, into the space between them, not pushing, not dominating, just holding. Ryder, I say, pull your unit back. 2 lines. He hesitates, half a second. Too long. I hold his gaze. Don't push, don't force, just wait. He exhales sharply, signals his team. They step back. Cole, I continue, reassign your flank. You're too tight on the line. Cole nods once, no hesitation. His unit shifts. Clean, efficient, just like that. The pressure breaks, not explosively, controlled, redirected. The space breathes again, not calm, but stable. I exhale slowly, not visibly, not noticeably, but enough. Then it hits me, hard, quiet, undeniable. They listened, not because of Donovan, not because of rank, not because they had to, because I told them to. I don't react. I can't. Not here, not now. Reset positions, I say. We regroup in 10. No one argues. No one questions. They move, immediately, just like that. I turn, slowly, back toward the command center. Donovan is behind me, silent, still, watching. Elias stands further back, near the edge of the space, exactly where he always is, not in the center, but shaping it anyway. Our eyes meet, and I see it, not surprise, not approval, recognition, like he's been waiting for this exact moment. I look away first, because I need to. The command center hums with low activity when we return, screens flicker, data updates. Communication lines stabilize. On the surface, everything looks under control again. Underneath, everything has changed. Donovan steps in front of the main console, trying to reclaim position. Good work, he says. To the room, not to me, not really. Let's proceed with. He stops, because no one's looking at him. Again, they're waiting, again, for me. I feel it, every second of it. Heavy, sharp, unavoidable. I shouldn't take it. I shouldn't step into it. I shouldn't. But if I don't, this falls apart again, and I won't let that happen. I move, one step, then another, until I'm at the console. No announcement, no declaration, no claim, just action. Shift Eastern patrols to staggered rotation. I say, we're reducing exposure. Hands move, immediately. Reinforce Southern Corridor. Light units only. No clustering. More movement. Faster now. Update communication chain. Direct relay. No delays. Someone nods. Executes. No hesitation. No questioning. No resistance. The system responds. I feel it again. That line. The one I've never crossed. The one I've never been allowed to cross. And I realize. I just did. Not officially. Not publicly. But completely. I step back. Just slightly. Enough to breathe. Enough to think. Adrenaline hums under my skin. Sharp. Electric. Controlled. Barely. And underneath it. Something else. Fear. Not of failure. Not of conflict. Of this. Of what it means. Of what happens next. Because there's no going back from this. I glance up. Across the room. Elias is still there. Watching. Not interfering. Not guiding. Just observing, like he set the stage, and waited to see if I'd step onto it. I look away, again, because if I don't, I might realize something I'm not ready to face. The room stabilizes. The system holds. The crisis. Contained. But something fundamental has shifted. I can feel it in the way they move. The way they look. The way they listen. Not to Donovan, to me. And for the first time, I don't know if that's a good thing, or the beginning of something I won't be able to stop. Silence feels different after you take control, not quieter, sharper, like the world has adjusted around you. And now, Everything waits to see what you'll do next. I don't stay in the command center. I can't, not with the way they're looking at me, not with the way Donovan isn't. He said good work. Like I'd done him a favor. Like I hadn't just taken something he couldn't hold. The corridors are empty now. Late enough that movement has slowed. Early enough that tension hasn't settled. The pack is holding, barely. And I'm the reason it is. That thought should feel like control. It doesn't. It feels like standing on something unstable and realizing too late that you're the only thing keeping it from collapsing. My office door slides shut behind me with a quiet click. Private. Contained. Mine. At least. This part still is. I don't sit. I don't relax. I stand at the edge of the desk, palms pressed lightly against the surface, staring at nothing, running through it. Every decision, every reaction, every shift in the room. They listened, not because they had to, because they wanted to, because it made sense, because they were already waiting for it. My jaw tightens. No, that doesn't happen on its own. That doesn't just appear. That gets built, shift by shift, conversation by conversation, pressure in the right places. Elias, the thought lands clean, cold, certain. Without a knock, of course it does. I don't turn. You have a habit, I say, voice flat, of walking into rooms that aren't yours. Do the first. The door slides shut behind him. Soft, controlled. I face him slowly. No rush, no hesitation. Just focus. He looks exactly the same. Calm, composed, like nothing significant happened. Like the last hour didn't shift the foundation of the pack. Like he didn't orchestrate it. You set this up, I say. No build-up, no pretense. Just the truth, as I see it. A pause. Then, no, Elias says, not defensive, not surprised. Just clear. I revealed it. The words hit harder than denial would have, because they don't reject the accusation, they redirect it. You've been talking to people, I continue, adjusting behavior, moving decisions. Yes. No hesitation. Again, you're influencing the pack. Yes. Still calm, still steady, still unbothered. I take a step closer, then another, close enough that I can see the exact moment his pupils adjust. Not fear, not submission, awareness. That's not your role. I know. Then why are you doing it? A pause. Not long, just long enough to feel deliberate. Because you weren't. Something in my chest tightens. Sharp. Immediate. I was handling it. You were containing it. That's the same thing. No, Elias says quietly. It's not. The words don't rise. They don't push. They don't try to dominate. And somehow, they still land. You were holding everything together, he continues, without changing anything. I scoff lightly. That's called stability. That's called delay. Silence. Thick. Heavy. I study him. Really study him. Looking for cracks. For hesitation. For anything that suggests this is a mistake. There isn't any. You don't get to decide what this pack needs, I say. No. He doesn't argue it. Doesn't challenge it. It already decided. The words settle between us. Quiet. Final. I don't like that. Not the tone. Not the certainty. Not the implication. What does that mean? I ask. Elias exhales slowly, like he's been waiting for this question. It means, he says, you're not leading because you refuse to. The room feels smaller, tighter. That's not how leadership works. It is here. I shake my head once. Sharp. Controlled. No. Because if that's true, then everything I've been doing, everything I've been holding back. No. You're making assumptions again, I say. I'm not. He steps closer. Not invading. Not pushing. Just closing distance. Omegas feel structure, he says. Not titles. Not hierarchy on paper. Structure. I don't move. Don't step back. And this pack? He continues. It's already aligned. A pause. Then, just not with the person on the throne. The words land like something being named out loud for the first time. I feel it, that shift, that recognition, that uncomfortable, undeniable truth. No, I say, too fast, too sharp. Denial, clear, immediate. Elias watches me, not pushing, not pressing, just waiting. I'm not the alpha, I say. You are. I'm not. You act like one. That's not the same thing. He tilts his head slightly. That same movement, that same calm. It is, he says softly, when everyone else already treats you like one. I feel it then, not in the room, in my body, the memory. Ryder, stepping back. Cole, adjusting without hesitation. The command center, moving the second I spoke. No resistance, no delay, acceptance. I push it down, hard. That doesn't mean anything, I say. It means everything. Silence. If I take it. The words slip out before I can stop them. Elias doesn't interrupt, doesn't react. I exhale slowly. Finish it. I can lose everything. There it is. The real reason. Not control, not structure, not responsibility. Risk. Elias studies me for a second. Longer than before. Then, you're already carrying everything. That lands deeper. Because it's not an argument. It's an observation. You think stepping forward changes that? He continues. It doesn't. I clench my jaw. It just makes it visible. And that's the problem. Not the weight. Not the responsibility. Being seen. Being acknowledged. Being something I can't step back from. I shake my head again. Slower this time. More controlled. No. Elias doesn't move. Doesn't argue. Just waits. I'm not him, I say. The words feel solid. Grounded. Final. The official alpha. The position. The title. The expectation. All of it. I'm not him, I repeat. Because if I am, then everything changes. And I'm not ready for that. Not yet. Not like this. Elias watches me for a long moment. Something shifts in his expression. Not disappointment. Not frustration. Understanding. Of course you're not, he says quietly. That wasn't what I expected. I frown slightly. Then stop trying to be, he adds. And just like that, the pressure changes. Not gone, never gone, but different. He steps back, gives me space, not retreating, not yielding, just letting me stand where I've chosen to stand. For now, I didn't set anything up, he says, softer now. I just stopped pretending. A pause. You should try it. The words linger, long after he's turned, long after he's walking toward the door. I don't stop him. I can't, because stopping him would mean choosing, and I haven't, not yet. The door closes behind him, and I'm alone again, but not the same. Because now, I know, not fully, not comfortably, but enough. The pack isn't breaking. It's shifting, and whether I accept it or not, it's shifting toward me. Night strips everything down to truth. No meetings, no polished words, no hierarchy pretending to hold, just instinct. And what's left when everything else fails. I don't sleep, not after that conversation, not after what he said, what he didn't say, what he made impossible to ignore. The territory feels wrong, not broken, not yet, but misaligned, like something is shifting beneath the surface, just out of sight. I'm halfway through the western corridor when it hits. A sound, sharp, out of place, then another, metal, impact. Too close, too fast. I turn before I think, move before I decide, already running. The signal comes a second later, delayed, fragmented, unit breach, north sector. Too late, already happening. By the time I reach the outer zone, it's chaos. Lights flicker, shadows move too fast, voices overlap, disjointed, urgent. Two groups again, but this time, not ours. Foreign scent, wrong, sharp, intrusive, Someone got in, not by accident. Fall back. A voice shouts. I recognize it. One of ours. Panicked. Bad. Very bad. I push forward. Against the movement. Against the retreat. Because retreat here means collapse. A figure steps into my path. Alpha. Familiar. Too familiar. Cole. Something about him is off. Posture. Timing. The way he blocks instead of moves. Marcus. He says. Too calm. That's when I know. You open the corridor, I say. Not a question. A pause. Then. Yes. The word lands like a fracture, finally giving way. Why? I ask. Still moving. Still calculating. Still adjusting. Because this pack is already broken. Cole replies. I just sped it up. Behind him, more movement. More unfamiliar scent. More pressure. You chose the wrong side, I say. He smiles. Cold. Certain. No. He says. I chose the winning one. I don't answer. Because this isn't about words anymore. He moves first. Fast. Controlled. No hesitation. I meet him head on. Impact. Sharp. Precise. We don't fight like the others. No wasted movement. No emotion in the strikes. Just intent. He's good. Better than I expected. Better than before. Prepared. Of course he is. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't chaos. This was planned. I feel it click into place. The missing piece. Not Elias. Never Elias. This is the threat. Cole shifts left. I counter. He adapts. Fast. Too fast. He's not trying to win. He's trying to stall. That realization hits. And I disengage immediately. Wrong fight. Wrong target. I step back. Break distance. Fall back, Cole says, almost amused. You can't stop this. Maybe not. But I don't have to stop everything. I just have to stop enough. I turn. Move. Ignore him. Because this is bigger than one opponent. The corridor opens into the central junction. And that's where it's breaking. Multiple units. Mixed. Confused. No clear command. That's the real problem. Not the breach. Not the enemy. The lack of direction. They're waiting. I feel it immediately. The hesitation. The uncertainty. The moment before collapse. And I know. This is it. The choice. Step forward. Or let it fall. No time. No debate. No safe option. My chest tightens. Hard. Sharp. Fear. Not of failing. Of what happens if I don't. I step into the center. Stop. The word cuts through everything. Not loud. But it lands. Heads turn. Movements slow. Just enough. Good. Form two lines. I continue. Outer perimeter holds. Inner units reposition. Now. No one asks who gave the order. No one questions it. They move. Immediate. Instinctive. Like they've been waiting for this. I don't think. I don't plan. I act. Seal the north access, I add. Cut their entry point. Someone nods. Executes. Rider, left flank. Contain. He's already moving. Pull wounded back. No breaks in formation. The chaos shifts. Not gone, but structured, controlled, alive. I feel it happen. That change, that alignment, like something finally clicks. Not in the room. In me. This isn't about title. This isn't about permission. This is about not letting them fall, because the first can't, because I won't, because I was already doing this. Just without saying it out loud. The pressure doesn't disappear. It focuses. The enemy pushes. We hold. They test. We adapt. Fast. Clean. Controlled. And then they break. Not us. Them. The moment they lose the advantage. The moment structure stabilizes. They pull back. Retreat. Just like that. Silence follows. Not peaceful. Heavy. Aftershock. Breathing. Movement. Life. We held. I exhale slowly. Feel it now. Fully. The weight. The shift. The line. Crossed. Again. But this time, there's no pretending it didn't happen. I turn, scanning, assessing, counting, casualties, damage, position, everything. Still here, still intact, because I stepped in, not because I had to, because I couldn't do anything else. That's the truth. And it settles deeper than anything else has so far. I feel it. Clear. Unavoidable. This is what I am. Not second. Not support. Something else. Something I've been refusing to name. A shift in movement catches my attention. Edge of the space. Elias. Of course. He's been there the whole time. Watching. Not interfering. Not directing. Just observing. Our eyes meet. And this time, I don't look away. I don't step back. I don't break it. Because I know, not everything, but enough. He studies me for a second. Long, measured, then, finally, his expression shifts. Not subtle this time. Clear, certain. There you are, he says, and something in my chest, finally, stops fighting it. The hall looks the same. Glass, steel, clean lines, controlled space, nothing broken, nothing out of place. If you didn't know better, you'd think nothing changed, but you can feel it. In the air, in the silence, in the way no one speaks unless they have to. The pack is already gathered when I walk in. No summons, no formal call. They just came, alphas along the table, betas behind them. Omegas quiet, observant, present in ways most people underestimate. Donovan stands at the head again. Of course he does. Same place, same posture, but something's different. No one is looking at him. Not really. Their attention shifts when I enter, not dramatically, not all at once, but enough. I feel it, like a current pulling toward me, not forcing, not demanding, waiting. I take my usual position, half a step behind, same as always, except it doesn't feel the same. Donovan clears his throat, attempts control. Last night's incident was contained, he says. We'll proceed with, he falters, just slightly, because no one reacts, no one moves, no one responds. The silence stretches, heavy, uncomfortable, and for the first time, it's not me waiting for him to act, it's him waiting for me. I feel it settle, fully now. The shift is complete. I could stay where I am, let it continue, let him speak, let the illusion hold a little longer. I could, but I don't, because now I know what happens if I do. I step forward, just one step. That's all it takes. The room changes, not visibly, not dramatically, but completely. Donovan stops talking, not because I interrupted, because he can't continue. I don't look at him, not yet. I look at them, the pack, and for a second, I say nothing, because this moment, this exact moment, matters more than anything I could say. I feel it, that pressure again, that weight, but it's different now, not something pressing down, something settling into place. You held, I say finally. The words are simple, measured, but they land. You didn't break, I continue, even when it got unstable. Ryder nods once. Cole isn't there. He won't be again. You adapted, I add. A pause. Then. That's what matters. No speech, no declaration, no claim, just acknowledgement. And somehow, that's enough, because I feel it. That shift, not external, not forced, internal. The pack, aligning, not by command, not by title, by instinct. It moves through the room like something invisible, something older than structure, older than rules. Recognition. I don't fight it. For the first time, I don't push it down, I don't step back. I stand there, and I let it happen. Donovan exhales sharply, a sound that almost feels like release. He steps back, not forced, not challenged, just done, and no one stops him. Because no one needs to. I feel the moment settle, fully, completely. No announcement, no ritual, but Something final, something undeniable. I'm not behind him anymore. I'm not beside him. I'm at the center, and the pack accepts it, not loudly, not visibly, but completely. I glance across the room. Elias stands where he always does, not at the front, not hidden, balanced, watching. Our eyes meet. This time, there's no tension, no resistance, just clarity. I step toward him, not rushed, not hesitant, close enough that I don't have to raise my voice. So this was your plan? I ask. His gaze holds mine, steady, unmoving. No. A pause. Then what? His expression shifts, just slightly. I waited. The words land softer than I expect, but deeper, because I understand them now. He didn't build this. He didn't force it. He saw it. Before anyone else did. Before I did. And he let it happen. Let me reach it. On my own. I exhale slowly. The tension that's been sitting in my chest for days, for longer, finally shifts. Not gone, but different, manageable, real. You're still interfering, I say. A faint smile. Of course. I almost laugh. Instead, I shake my head slightly. Stay where you are, I tell him. Not an order, a position. He inclines his head, not submissive, not resistant, aligned, exactly where he should be. I turn back to the room. The pack, mine. The word doesn't feel wrong anymore. It doesn't feel like something I'm stealing. It feels accurate. I step fully into the space. No hesitation. No pause. Let's fix the structure, I say, and this time, when they move, when they respond, there's no question, no delay, no doubt, because now, it's not hidden, not implied, not avoided. It just is. I don't look back again. I don't need to, because I already know. He's still there, watching, waiting, not for me to step forward anymore, but to see what I'll do now that I have, and for the first time, that doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like choice. I exhale once, steady, grounded, and step into it. Turns out, I was never second. I was just the only one afraid to step forward.